So, in my MMORPG, like Isekai books, I have 12 professions that are playable classes. They're called the honorable professions. And to be honest, I kind of painted myself into a corner with Thief. Because Thief is like standard RPG character class. Like, I couldn't not have it in there. But I painted myself in the corner by labeling them the honorable professions because I, didn't just want to call them classes, and I felt like calling them classes would have been like way kind of actually too close to what is done by common practice to not be just like, I don't know, kind of a ripoff. But I mean, like, it's pretty obvious what they are. And there's 12 of them. But I'm going to be covering 3 of them right now. So they're divided in 2 different ways. Oh, sorry to anyone who's British that I actually just flipped off. My bad. I gotta be more careful of my potential audience because I don't know where anyone lives. So, if I ever actually have a follower in the UK, or if I have one now, I'm so sorry. My bad. But anyway. So there are 12 of them, and they're divided in 2 different ways. One by 4 and one by 3. So the way they're divided by 4 is by urban, wild, and traveler. Now, the magic is also kind of divided in a threefold way, in that it has primal, worldly, and ephemeral solid. But the thing of it is, as you'll see in a moment, that division doesn't quite work the same way that traveling and wild and urban go, because in a similar way that they're also divided by 3. There is 1 of each of the 4 groups in each of these 3. So it doesn't actually, maybe I could have made it work that way, but I didn't want to. And it seems like way more effort than it's worth. Not gonna lie. So, I'm going to start with the wild, traveler, and urban of the, shield bearer classes. They're the fighting classes, the champion for the urban, the soldier for the traveling, and the barbarian for the wild. Now, what are the virtues of these things? Barbarian is sacrifice. Why? Because the barbarian is the one who is the least armored. Well, actually, no. He is actually middle, or he or she, because actually in my second book had a canon female barbarian. But anyway, my point is, barbarian because of the way Sword Fury works, is more inclined to interpose with their body that is less armored than that of a soldier. And because also, essentially the other 2 have things that allow, the soldier has a thing that lets them basically throw their shield to be able to block for other people. That's kind of their deal. So, the soldier can do that, so, they're more likely to basically physically interpose and bleed themselves. All 3 of them basically, with the Pindi Karoti, are going to Rakta Mishkati, because they're the ones that are most likely to bleed. They just are. That's what I got. So. The 4-way division. There is the combat, or these shield bearers. There is the arcane, which is wizard, adept, and shaman. There is the divine, which is priest, monk, and druid. And then there's the subtlety 3, which is thief, bard, and guide. Guide being like a ranger or a hunter. So, what does this mean in terms of why I'm doing a video like this? More hypnosis, you are so inclined. Which should, if this like works for you, like if you identify strongly with any of these 3 Verdi, because essentially that's what they are. They're Yaz's Verdi. They're honorable professions. And I'll get to the virtue of the thief in like maybe the next video, because they each of the 12 has their own virtue, and at least for a couple of them I need to look them up. Not for thief. I actually remember the one for thief and for wizard. The one for thief is, I may as well tell you now. It's actually patience, partially at least to understand the situations in which you really not only don't need to steal, but you shouldn't. Because, like, only someone who shouldn't be a thief steals when they shouldn't. Or, like, when they don't need to. Like, if you're stealing when you don't need to, and you're not, like, a kleptomaniac, you shouldn't be a thief. That's all there is to it. You lack the patience for it. Because you're just like, shiny, mine. Nah. You should already be in jail if you're that stupid. I'm not even joking. Anyway, I don't think anyone's watching this actually that stupid, but I'm bringing up thieves having virtue, so I may as well like actually explain what I'm talking about. And also, by the way, once again, this isn't a fantasy context. This isn't supposed to apply to real life. Except in this one, which is not hypnotizing you into being thieves. Because that would be rude. And really uncool of you. So, but this, in theory, will actually help for fire magic, metal magic, and earth magic for champions, soldiers, and barbarians. Mama, Barbara, Samakarati, Ambavakarati, Pindikaroti, Raktamushkati. Prasadayati, Praskitam Karoti. Well, that may sound familiar to a bunch of you, if you have seen certain other videos, but essentially, it happens because the virtue of the barbarian actually sacrifice. So, when they sacrifice, when they bleed, they atone. That's just kind of how it is. Because barbarians are essentially, well, kind of pure ones. They're pure in their rage, they're pure in their way of life. That's why they're barbaro. That's why they're barbarians or savages. Because they live a pure life of being a warrior of the wild. That's all I got. So, Ratha. For Divyabatik Agni, magical elemental fire. Samakarati and Vavakarati. Pindikaroti Raktam Mushkati. Prasadayati. Parizutam Nayati. What is that about? Well, the thing is, champions are effectively the equivalent of paladins. They're paladins that have non-divine focused fire magic. They're sort of like blade singers. They got like the one hand, and they like have basically their waila or their techniques are all about well, basically fencing with a fire sword. Like being able to just like fast draw a flame sword because they're that attuned to fire. That's kind of their deal. That sort of thing. Now, sign it, soldiers. So, like, there isn't a word for valor specifically that I found, which is there, virtue. But the thing about soldiers is when they're not going to war, they're protecting the traveling classes. That said, they're the soldiers. They're the ones that go to war. So, strictly speaking, their reduction to order is Amari Vavadi, which means to become immortal, which is said of warriors dying in battle. Which is kind of depressing. I'm not gonna lie. However, it is just kind of a reflection of an understanding for soldiers that, like, you don't always make it to the other side. Like, you don't always make it to the end of the war. You just don't. It's sad. It's brutal. Because that's how war is. It just is. Can't breathe that up. So, Sama Karati and Baba Karati. Hindi Karoti, Raktam Mushkati. Prasadayati. Amari Babadi. Because Duradana Vijima. The mark of knowledge of invincible heroism. Because that's what you get when you Amari Babadi. There are ways to get it without dying. There are. But if you're a soldier and another soldier dies for you, wouldn't that other soldier live on in your life, in your mind, forever? When they become immortal, at least to you. That's where I'm at. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to like your comments.